Dire team ban.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? And welcome back to the grand finals of the South American qualifiers. Infamous taking on Playmakers. Best of 3, winner is in the minor, and loser is in nothing. They get nothing. Good day, sir. Infamous have been tearing it up. So far, 4-0 on the day. And, well, I mean, if they do another 2-0, that'll be a 6-game winning spree to come back from the lower bracket round 1. That's a lot of games to play. So, keep in mind, Playmakers have played so far 0 games, officials, today. And Infamous have been grinding the hell out of them. Maybe that means Infamous have the advantage because they're warm. Maybe that means Playmakers have the advantage because Infamous are fatigued. I don't really know. But let's see what's going to happen in this game. Guys, I'm Mikelorus, going to be your caster for this game. We saw Playmakers just body everyone in the games yesterday. Playmakers 2-1'd Infamous. In fact, that's how Playmakers kind of got here, and that's how Infamous got to where they started. So, yeah, this should be a much closer matchup than we've seen. Already the games are looking more and more close as we get towards the grand finals, as you would expect, obviously. But Infamous, they're looking good. I like their new drafting approach. The way they've been picking their heroes, the order of which they've been picking their heroes is very, very different to what they did yesterday. So, I mean, if it ain't broke, right? So, I guess no, that's not the right phrase. Fix it. Fix what you lost, why you lost yesterday. Just fix it, and then take this new approach. They were taking mids pretty highly for Tomato, and he was just kind of getting crushed with them. So going for, you know, EE's PA. You're good to go. You're never going to be upset about that. Going for these type of strats where you pick up the supports pretty heavily instead, it's a little bit more of a standard strat, honestly. It's nothing crazy, but it's still working really well for Infamous so far. We'll see what Playmakers are going to bring to bear, because Sword has had an amazing display so far in this qualifier, and Faker as well. They've been really just standouts from the Playmakers side, so we'll see if they're able to keep performing to that level. Of course, I feel like Sword has been getting kind of spoon-fed his lanes, and therefore spoon-fed his game. Just because it's like, well, we picked this hero for Sword, and he wins the game for us because the matchups are so good. So some credit at that point goes to Sword. Some credit at that point has to go to, I suppose, Stinger, because he's the one making those calls at the end of the day. So I'm not really sure who's supposed to get all the credit there, but we'll see what's going to happen in this draft. This looks familiar. When have we seen this before? A Phantom Assassin immediate Terrorblade response. So immediately you're looking back 1 game to Infamous. I wonder if hold on. Let me just go to this 1 second, guys. Let me see if, oh yeah. So this is the scoreboard from the last game. This was the exact start. Terrorblade first pick. So obviously this is going to look different from what WP did, but all those heroes should be looking pretty similar. Same kind of heroes Infamous should be aiming for, at least to counter that Terrorblade. However, it's going to be a Dazzle with that Terrorblade, and that spells trouble. That's really not something PA wants to see, because she's the hero that is supposed to get right up close and start laying the smackdown. And Dazzle, if that happens, has the Grave and the Shadow Wave, which kind of destroys PA. Not to mention the fact that Graving Terrorblade is like the most terrifying thing you could actually do ever, and the only counter to that, being the Axe, is currently banned out. So for Playmakers, they have a really, really sick 1-2 punch. On top of that, actually, you gotta remember that the Juju ultimate from the Dazzle does also decrease armor. It's very easy to have that fly under the radar. But when you're talking about such a heavy physical damage dealer as Terrorblade, every single bit of minus armor counts for a lot. And I believe that minus armor just applies fully to any Brewmaster splits. There's like no like spell resistance there or anything like that from the Brewmaster. It's also undispellable, in case you guys didn't know. I actually did not know that it was undispellable.
10 seconds
but now I do. So they go for Phantom Assassin, they go for Brewmaster. So for the Playmaker side, you're looking at 2 heroes that are going to be ducking and weaving pretty darn hard. You're going to need some form of accuracy or some form of just overwhelming initiation so that you're able to get on top of these heroes and pick them off before they can dodge all your attacks. So like, you know, Bat Rider, for example, something that Sword is very comfortable with. Good matchup for Phantom Assassin. You get the initiation onto the Brewmaster. He isn't able to split. in a perfect world, he isn't able to turn on Drunken Brawl or anything like that. So you have a pretty good shot at just straight killing him, even though you may not have that accuracy. That being said, Brewmaster, as far as control is concerned, really, really fantastic hero up against Terrorblade. Pretty darn good hero up against Dazzle as well, and is just like one of the most ridiculous heroes in the game right now. So that kind of helps. We'll see who's actually playing him. They can give him to Pepita, the Brewmaster, and have him get a little more farm. We already saw Pepita play Brewmaster once before today. Alternatively, giving him to a support. Probably snaking, I want to say. And we'll see what he can do then. It is kind of tough playing Brew support up against the Terrorblade. You still slow him, you still let your allies do the damage, but for the most part, you're guaranteed crits. It's not guaranteed. It's like mostly guaranteed. Your crits coming out from Drunken Brawler won't really do all that much for someone who has the armor of Terrorblade. So you would really rather have a magical threat versus that Terrorblade if you're going to go in that direction at all. They'll take out the Tidehunter, the DK, and the Zeus, actually. I gotta assume that Playmakers were keeping an eye on Infamous's previous games. Zeus is a really dangerous hero to be playing versus as a Terrorblade. Like, you don't want that. But Lina was already picked up twice for Infamous in order to counter Terrorblades, I think. At least once to counter Terrorblade. I think there was a game before then where they did the same thing. So that's like just the more likely thing that's going to happen. You just take the Lina instead. I would say for the most part we're looking at Lich for Infamous. And for the Playmaker side, hey, they do ban out the Lina. So yeah, it took them a while, but they finally got there. It's all good. Playmakers are probably going to grab... I feel an Undying. I got that feel. I could also see a Grimstroke come up here, and that could be pretty nice as well. Like getting that silence on a Brewmaster, whew, that is just so backbreaking. I'm gonna call the rest of the draft for Playmakers. They're gonna go for Undying. Then they're going to go for... You know what? I actually don't know. They're gonna end up with the Bat Rider. Like, gotta keep your eye on that one if you're Infamous. I have that feeling, you know. For right now, how aggressive do they want to be with this Terrorblade? Saw in an earlier game a team that went pretty aggro in the Terrorblade, and I don't think it was Infamous. I don't think it worked. So I mean, everyone lost. It's a Centaur, so that's a little bit of a safer one, and that means no Bat Rider, which means all my predictions are currently wrong. Feels bad, man. But either way, Centaur is a solid hero up against PA, for sure. Up against the Brewmaster, he has a decent time as well. Just stomp and run away. Or you can even challenge him with Retaliate. Like, you really can have... You do have those options as the Centaur. And at the very least, like, even if you have a support Centaur for whatever reason, or an underfarmed Centaur, you can still just press the Stampede button and get Terrorblade out of those sticky situations. This is something that Infamous were doing yesterday. Just Shadow Shaman, and even in the... yeah, I feel like every single time yesterday was just like Shadow Shaman. So Moose is pretty darn good with this hero, but I kind of like his Bane direction today. Like, admittedly, guys, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what Infamous have been doing over Playmakers, because we've just been watching them more today. But Shadow Shaman is something that Moose has been playing quite a bit, although the Bane was very impressive as well. Shadow Shaman is probably a lot better versus the Terrorblade than the Bane. You get that ability to like get some AoE magic damage, at least clear out those illusions somewhat. Plus, you get that ability to drop the Serpent Wards, force tower defenses from Playmakers. But, I mean, you would still go for what you did yesterday, even though they lost. Even though they lost pretty hard. It wasn't that hard, actually. Some of those games were real nail-biters. But either way, Shadow Shaman picked up. They want to play it with the Brewmaster. I could see that working pretty well, actually. I mean, just crits and a whole bunch of disable durations / slows. You're looking at some really, really tanky cores, so you need some damage. And Playmakers will go ahead and grab an Enigma. Like that quite a bit, actually. Like, they already have some pretty good disengage / engage with Centaur Warrunner. Being able to capitalize on that with a couple of additional stuns in the teamfight capacity, really powerful. And looking at Infamous, they don't really have many good ways of canceling Enigma Black Hole. Shadow Shaman may get some range on his abilities, might be able to do so. But sometimes he's just on the wrong side of the black hole, and you can't cancel that. PA can't do it. Brewmaster will have to split and do it. But if you catch the Brewmaster and your objective as Enigma usually is going to be to disable the Brewmaster with your black hole. Pre-split, post-split, doesn't matter. Yeah, I like this pick quite a bit. In general, I feel like this hero is just overall really powerful. Like, even if you have like a good black hole matchup, even if you don't, and right now it gets a lot worse because there's a Rubik, but you still get those Eidolons. Together with the Terrorblade, that is just so many random units that are just going to be hitting creeps, hitting towers, giving you lane control, giving you map pressure. Such a powerful aspect of the hero that at this point Infamous will probably have to respect a little bit more, I would say. I mean, their AoE it exists, but it's not really like premium AoE. Shadow Shaman's pretty darn good. Rubik is okay. Phantom Assassin, I would say, is a decent shot at going for a Battle Fury this game. Envy does seem to like that build for just farming purposes. Of course, if you could one-shot a whole bunch of Eidolons, man, you're happy about that as well. By the way, my prediction on Playmakers was completely off. Like, now officially completely off. The Batrider will still be taken out. They expect Playmakers that this Brewmaster is going to be played by snaking. And that's a reasonable assumption, but we know that they ran Pepita Brewmaster earlier today, and that's kind of the reason why this hero is so powerful. The mid Rubik's also picked up, and we'll see if Tomato can do a little bit better. His matchup versus Faker in the mid lane yesterday was really, really rough for him. He kind of just got crushed.
5 seconds remaining.
The Rubik is definitely a safe one. We'll see if he's able to have that impact. There are some pretty darn good spells to steal. Stampede, Black Hole, obviously, are the premium ones. Really, anything from Dazzle does pretty good. If you're able to steal Demonic Conversion, that's also not bad. It's not quite as splashy. It doesn't have that same kind of impact as some of those other abilities, but it's solid. Lets you really apply pressure to those lanes, buy some space for the PA. And it's pretty easy to steal also. Like, Enigma usually is just going to be casting that all day long, so if you just, at a random time, spell steal an Enigma, odds are you're going to get Demonic Conversions. So now Playmakers still looking for most likely their mid select, and they have the last pick. They know that it's going to be a Rubik almost for sure. What are Infamous actually scared of in that regard? What do Playmakers have to really combo with in that mid lane? Looks like they can just pick up any independent mid laner and it should be fine. Like, it's not much pressure going towards that mid lane. If they have disables, that'll be great, but it's not really a necessity. They take down the Ember Spirit. Like, honestly, if Playmakers want to get a puck, just a little bit of an initiation type mid lane hero, that can be really good up against Brewmaster. Kind of crushes Shadow Shaman as well. The Underlord is the select for Infamous, going for a little bit of a weirder pick here. But I don't mind that up against the Terrorblade and the Enigma. Seems pretty decent. Again, you're looking at just buying a lot of space for that Phantom Assassin. Underlord is a great hero at doing that. Absorb a lot of damage, kind of take it off the board. My dog is going to start barking in about 10 seconds, guys, so fair warning. Turn your volume down. She's going to go nuts. I think you might be able to hear her chewing on something. She's chewing on her nails. I feel like that's not good for dogs, but you can't really stop them from doing that. Even humans bite their nails, right? And then we have an Elder Titan. Last pick for Playmakers, so this is going to be pretty interesting. Who's going to get this farm? This is kind of similar to what we saw earlier when Infamous Young were just picking up these kind of massive amounts of support heroes. We're really lacking the scaling. But, oh man, I just completely blanked on that that Faker Dazzle. I mean, we haven't seen mid Dazzle, or core Dazzle, really at all in this qualifier. So that kind of slipped my mind, admittedly. I apologize. So it's going to be a core Dazzle, core Enigma, core Terrorblade, obviously. And the other two are supports. That is pretty interesting. I mean, you get pretty much the same things as core Dazzle every single game. You just you just get that Necro book, and then you kind of just go around killing things. I feel like up against the Rubik matchup should be kind of a balanced one. And how weird is it that we have like Rubik mid? Yeah, standard. Dazzle mid? Yeah, that's fine as well. Nothing crazy there. And for this Elder Titan, adding a little bit more initiation, a little more team fight. It's all about getting kind of a pseudo front line for this Terrorblade, for this Dazzle. And ET and Centaur are like directly frontline heroes. Enigma also is a pretty decent frontline hero as well, just because he threatens with that black hole. a large barrier put in the way for Infamous to get over. I gotta say, liking Playmakers draft quite a bit here. Oh, it's actually interesting, a snaking. They're swapping up here. Snaking Shadow Shaman and Moose Brewmaster. Moose has been playing the Shadow Shaman for the team pretty much every single time they picked it up. So, I mean, I'm sure both of these guys can play both of these heroes. So, it's probably just a little bit of min-maxing comfort zone at that point. Let's take a look at these lanes. Sword in the off lane with the Centaur. Faker, yes, the real League of Legends Faker. Man, how famous must you be if, like, you're so good at your game that your rival game, even the players there know you? Like, I don't know jack about League of Legends, but I know Faker. Dude is, like, he's on top, man. Must feel good. And, of course, we got the Terrorblade here. I'm pretty sure I was told this is Kotaro, but right now he's just Aussie, man. That's all he be. Tomato is in a rough spot, taking that stapler to the dome, and now even snaking in a rough spot because this ET, he's closing in fast. And the staple gun, that's actually just a hammer, that cosmetic, is hitting hard onto snaking. Clap is going to give them a little bit of slows, but snaking is now in a corner, and he's going to be first blood almost for sure. Poison touch, one more slam jam, there it is, onto the Terrorblade. Gets first blood. Pretty sweet cash infusion there, and maybe even gonna be, oh my god, a 4-for-0 bounty rune exchange. Pack it up, boys, call it. Look at this. How are you supposed to come back from this? I wonder what happened here. That's interesting. But yeah, 4 bounty runes, pretty good. Pretty good, guys. Let's see, they'll put Pepita in the matchup that he wants, which is versus the Enigma. Again, you get that Firestorm going, and these Eidolons are just free food for you. As it stands right now, Moo's chilling on top lane. They're going to add a third. Saw Infamous do this earlier, but that was with an Iroh and a Gyrocopter. PA versus a Terrorblade. This is a drastically different matchup here. Shock goes off onto the Terrorblade. They're focusing him down. Excel trying to get in the way. And this TB is pretty physically bulky right now, but Moose and Snaking starting to chase him down, and will decide instead to back off, let him escape. Great move there from the ET. In fact, now his Spirit hit a lot of things, so he's hitting very hard, but into 3 heroes. Not sure if he can outrace this amount of heroes beating down on him. With Ozzy having that ranged form, maybe he can. He extends the damage buff he has, and onto Moose. They get the kill on the ET. Moose, one more shot is going to do him in. Now Snaking finds the kill onto the TB as well with that last shock. Just barely getting that kill. But hey, barely getting the kill still means you get the kill, right? An absolute brawl fest on the top lane, but this is a 3v2 lane. If you trade evenly as the 2 lane, as they just did, not quite actually, they were kind of behind, but if you get even trades with only 2 heroes, you're winning. Of course, this is going to look a little bit different. We have a little bit of rotation here. It looks like this Terrorblade has had enough. Pepita is, once again, just laying the fire down, and the Terrorblade just standing in it. That kind of hurts. But Pepita now, I don't think these Eidolons are going to split. I think they're just going to fade. Yeah, that's a pretty lucky break there, timing-wise, for the Underlord. They force the Terrorblade out and force the rotation. This is quite nice for Infamous. Over in the mid lane, in the meantime, mid lane matchup so far fairly even. But again, Faker has had Tomato's number all throughout yesterday. So I would not be surprised if, even though this matchup on paper should be fairly balanced, if Faker ends up coming out ahead. Like, I don't know what it is, if it's a mental thing or what, but it does seem like Tomato is going to struggle up against Faker just as the player versus player matchup. Snaking versus Stinger. This is the day and age where a Shadow Shaman is able to challenge a Centaur, but that's because the Centaur is calling in the reinforcements. And Snaking, is he going to get blocked by these Eidolons? No, actually. He's free and clear. 330 movement speed, look at him zoom. Snaking is free, and he's in the wind. But he's doing a great job just messing with the opposition. I'm not sure how indicative of success this stat is in relation to what snaking is doing, but the CS for the Radiant looking pretty darn good. Okay, now he's in a little bit of trouble. I don't think he's gonna get out of this one. You should have kept running, dude. You were free. So when you thought you were free, they get you back in there. Excel is still farming this top lane. Looks like Sword is just taking the scenic route to get up here. I mean, that still means he has the TP scroll for later. What is a TP rune? I don't know. But now he's a little bit of a late arrival. And ET with farm isn't really that incredible. Although ET with plus 75 damage is pretty good as far as killing off heroes is concerned. Pepita is just going to feel it right in the back of his skull. Snaking can only sit and watch. Yeah, it's a lot of damage for Excel to be walking around with. An unrealistic amount of damage for 4 minutes in the game. I mean, add that with the fact that there's a Terrorblade who's very similarly positioned, and oh, the Firestorm that's going to land squarely onto the Terrorblade with the shackles, but they don't really have that final killing blow. Now snaking into the tower, has a Fairy Fire, and that will keep him alive for one more hit. Tower aggro onto the ET, but Pepita is not hitting him. Spirit will straight kill off snaking. It was close. I think maybe if Pepita just went straight in and started right-clicking, that would have been enough, but they kill off a couple heroes in as many minutes, and over in mid lane, oh man, this double damage Rubik is really putting the screws to this double damage Dazzle, putting the screws to the Rubik, and okay, okay, that was a delayed suicide. Was not expecting that. Is Tomato dead? This poison and right click, he looks pretty dead to me. Doc, call it. Time of death 502. Turns out if you're gonna wear Faker's name, pretty good. They're leaving EE on this top lane to kind of fare for himself. Up against just an Enigma, that's not really a terribly huge concern for Envy. Even up against Enigma and Centaur, he can still kind of deal with that. The Brewmaster is here now. Dazzle level 6, only level 5, not even close to level 6 on this Rubik. Challenging this Dazzle to a fight, I'm not sure about that. Because the Poison Touch, man, it is just going to destroy you. It does seem like at this point Tomato needs a little bit of help. He was doing great on the CS department. I'm not really sure what happened there. Just a couple of bad engagements, I suppose. Like, look at this. He has the minus armor from the bad Juju. Poison Touch, just kind of wrecking his health pool. He's going to have to constantly ferry this restorative out. Faker's going to push forward for a little more. He does have a heal on his side. Oof. Monka S-ing this mid lane. Once you get level 6 as the Rubik, stealing Poison Touch, very easy to do. Then you're looking at a lane that's a little bit more interesting as far as fighting back is concerned. Right now, Tomato, if you turn around, you're in a lot of trouble. Even if you don't turn around, you're in a lot of trouble, honestly. Here comes your healing salve. Telekinesis back onto Faker, but with this haste rune, this Dazzle's got him. Spirit for Vision, easy chase down. And no one's really helping this guy. It feels bad, man. Abandoned by your teammates. Moose as well will be abandoned, and Playmakers will get off to a really nice lead here on the heroes that matter. The Terrorblade, the Dazzle, even Enigma, despite being kind of all over the place in that early game, is recovering pretty well. Not recovering. I say recovering as if he's really far behind. He's kind of balancing out his net worth really well. So now, Tomato, like, what's the game plan? He's still just going into this lane. Shadow Wave has been stolen, and Faker knows it. He doesn't care, clearly, because Rubik is, I think, just dead again. He's just going to die to the dots. Tomato's had a lot of games as Rubik, but, again, I'm not really sure what it is. He's just getting bodied here. And I don't really know if a level 3 Brewmaster is going to be enough to help out in this situation. This lane seems like it's just on lock. There's a 3 Null Talisman build on the Dazzle versus just the 2 of the Rubik, level 6 and level 8. Oh my god, he's almost level 9. Oh, that is so disgusting. I mean, yeah, levels are one thing. He also has the gold to back it up in that Necro Book, which is going to make him so much more terrifying. And they have caught snaking with the Stomp. Not enough control to actually get that kill. Shock goes out. That's about it. So Dazzle, as powerful as he may be, still is a hero that kind of has to keep finding success. That's not to say that he's bad as the game drags on, but he will become kind of less relevant of a hero compared to some of these others. So right now he's at maybe not his complete peak, but he's really, really high up there compared to some of these other heroes. Getting this Necro Book, keeping that pressure on, constantly getting these kills, not letting up. Very important for a Dazzle. And once that book comes up, you're looking at a lot of pushing options for Playmakers, specifically for this Terrorblade to join in. You can even go in towards that Enigma as well. Eidolons, level 3 at this stage. By the time they're really ready to push with Necro Book, they will be level 4. So triggered, Eidolons. Hey man, if you triggered at the correct pronunciation, then that's on you. That's not on me. Look it up. I encourage everyone to look it up and reap the benefits of knowledge. Pepita has still had a really great time, and EE, left on top lane for a very long time, has been having a grand old time as well. The only problem is he's going for a Battle Fury, which is a great item, and that in and of itself is not a problem. It's the fact that it'll take him a long time to actually get to that scaling item. In the meantime, everyone else on Playmakers, they are just going to be running at you. So it's just this race of Battle Fury. We'll see whether or not he's able to get it in a decent time frame. If it's slow, if he gets picked off a handful of times, if he gets dragged into a team fight, EE is going to be really, really tough to recover. And there's no one really on his team that can recover for him. Like, this Rubik is even worse, in an even worse position. This Underlord can only do so much. Like, yeah, he's going to be really tanky. Firestorm does a lot of damage, but can you really count on Firestorm to just win you every single engagement? Not quite. That's not how it works. Firestorm and the Pit onto the Centaur, doing quite a bit of damage. Bounty Rune should be secured by Pepita as well. No, he's just gunning for Stinger. They get the kill, and the Bounty Rune will finally be secured. Pepita now going to just try to Uber himself home. He's too drunk for that one, so he gets denied. Double kill for the Terrorblade, just freely right-clicking onto everyone. What was that Bounty Rune split? Bounty. Looks like it was fairly even. Still has a level 4 Brewmaster running around here. That's not all that impressive. Really needs to get level 6 at least, get that split. That stands right now. Level 2 Clap isn't going to be getting you any kills. Unless it's on a random Elder Titan in the middle of nowhere that you could somehow disable. Level 4 in the Shadow Shaman also. It's not like there's a huge level advantage here for Playmakers. Scratch that, they have a level 6 Centaur. Alright, well, you know, sometimes you have to have a level 6 Centaur, man. That's how it goes. Sometimes your Phantom Assassin gets dragged into a fight. Or sometimes you think you're setting up for a Phantom Assassin, and then suddenly is surrounded by every single hero on the enemy team, and you just get obliterated. Feels Excel, man. That is a huge hero rotation, however, for only that one Elder Titan kill, and he's not worth a lot. Yeah, they may be able to transition this into a tower, but you can bet that this Terrorblade is going to be doing much so the same thing on this bottom lane. Just constantly shoving it in, and Pepita, if he sticks up here, that tower on bottom lane is easy pickings for that TB. Looks like he will fall back, though. Firestorm should defend this. Illusions kind of just died of Firestorm. As seen in Exhibit A. There is split now on the Brewmaster. Rubik level 9 versus the Dazzle level 10, pushing 11, but I would say for the most part, Tomato is not where he wants to be, but not in an awful spot either. It's just the fact that this Dazzle is ready to really party. Puts up his Necro units, get that Juju going, and the Necro Goons will just help him farm. 51, 5,200 net worth, 53 shortly. Dude is a serious threat. Now, at a certain point, like, Envy will be able to deal with him in the way only Phantom Assassins can deal with these heroes. As it stands right now, I'm not really sure how they kill off a Dazzle. How they kill off this Dazzle. They gotta fight through Stampede, they gotta fight through Black Hole. Obviously, there is gonna be a Stomp from the Elder Titan coming in as well, so, like, it's just so many ways for Playmakers to defend one another. And over in bottom, Pepita's fine, no big deal. But just look at this farm. Remember, Juju, minus armor on everything, physical damage on Terrorblade. The synergy is real. And the synergy is going to be even better as Natural Order comes up. Even more minus armor. Kind of like that flat reduction of armor, but you get that going for yourself, and your TB, your Eidolons, they're going to be hitting like absolute trucks. The Demon Edge is complete on the Phantom Assassin. That's definitely the hardest part of this PA's game. Just getting that Battle Fury to begin with. Of course, 2,000 gold worth of damage item is a lot to grind towards, but he's done with that part, so perseverance afterwards is no big deal. Playmakers, they're just sitting back and farming. Not really being punished in doing so. I mean, a little bit of a shove occasionally versus the tower. Kind of a slow pace here for Playmakers. This Dazzle actually, starting to get involved a little bit. Split immediately upon arrival. They have the boulder toss, and now they're pushing forward. The Storm Panda lifts up the Dazzle. Dispel magic available, and it will also kill off a couple of those summoned goons. Dazzle has a grave, and he's going to try to TP out. There's a hurl boulder, and they don't cast it. Moose Micro, please. I'm pretty sure if he casted that, that would have been a free kill. I'm like 95% sure. So the Dazzle somehow escapes. That being said, in the meantime, they deploy Serpent Wards for the top lane, tier 1. Get that killed off. And ultimately, they do still kill off a Centaur Warrunner. But killing off a Dazzle there would have been just such a huge pickup from Infamous. Dazzle, grave TP. Sometimes, as they say in the gaming industry, it just works. Even though sometimes it really shouldn't. I feel like they also probably could have waited a little bit more for perhaps just like a full surround. I feel like maybe if they like waited for that Dispel Magic, split second more, get into a full position, maybe they could like hold on to the boulder for a little while longer or something like that. They did overlap the boulder onto the Centaur. By the way, Snaking is in a really bad spot right now, but he does have some help. He'll try to go back into the Firestorm, but these illusions are just kicking his ass. And Pepita can only do so much. He has double bracer. Pepita is dangerous. And Stinger is taking tower aggro right now. He has a Stampede to just get himself out of there. Firestorm. Yeah. That's about all an Underlord can do there. Unfortunately, he's all alone. Everyone else is kind of on top lane. Moo's setting up some deep vision so that MV can get some free farm once his Battle Fury comes up. And over in mid lane, Tomato still just working towards an item. He'll get there eventually. Unfortunately, Yule's Scepter, as great as it is as an item, is hard to compete with the Necrobook build up on the Dazzle. Especially when the Dazzle should be coming up with some stuff. This is not his, actually. Dazzle's holding on to a lot of cash. So he wants the energy booster, at least that's in the quick buy. He could easily jam home a couple of upgrades to this Necrobook. And it's all good, so I wonder if he's gonna actually just do that, make a straight level 1 through 3 push. I mean, holding 3,000 gold on Dazzle seems really excessive. Like right now, that gold is giving them an advantage that's not doing anything for them. Excel and Stinger, they're going to run into a pissed off Shadow Shaman. Serpent Wards are going to be deployed, but the disengage cleanly away from them. They are going to split off to the side, catch Stinger, and the Dispel Magic kills off every single Eidolon there. The chase is on, I suppose, for Excel, but this fight just got split up so far because of that Stampede. They should have another Dispel Magic to get him down from that Cyclone, but ultimately, Serpent Wards were dropped with no real vision. I mean, just one guy runs this way, one guy runs that way, and they do end up picking off the Elder Titan at least. But again, it's the same exact thing that we saw in the top lane earlier. Everyone and their mom rotates in, looking for some kills, and you only get one. And that is not a good deal at all. This is the worst deal in the history of deals. Especially when in a position like this, Serpent Wards are kind of needed to give your team recovery gold. That's probably what hurts the most. Like, yeah, the rotation sucks, but the usage of the Serpent Wards to get only one kill, I don't even think Snaking, he doesn't even get that kill. Like, he wasn't even there. Split was also used. That also is a little bit of a twist of the knife. Speaking of twisting knives, Roshan is going to be twisted by a knife. That was terrible. I couldn't make that segue happen, but they're just gonna go straight towards Roche anyway. Tons of illusions, and there's no split. There is going to be that haze onto pretty much everyone. Shock as well clears out the illusions. Stinger actually taking a lot of damage from Pepita. who got a lot of that aura damage stacked up from before. They do pick off Stinger right now, but it's Tomato in a lot of trouble. He gets Yule Scepter, and they throw him back in towards the pit. Snaking will give his life. Envy's going to show himself off with the dagger, but he's not really happy to go in towards this yet. Stomp lands onto 2. That should guarantee the pick off of the Rubik. Couple daggers will be thrown in. Snaking is there, but the black hole is going to hit them a little bit harder. That's immediately 3 down, as they all stack up all the time in the world to set up that Midnight Pulse as well. No rush whatsoever. And now they're going to go in for a little bit more. Roshan is still alive. Time to twist that knife. Now, think of how different this fight would be if there was a split or Serpent Wards drop there. It would be such a huge win. Stinger is drunk off his ass, but it doesn't matter because they've secured the Roshan eventually for this Terrorblade. And that is going to kick the lead all the way up to 7k. I guess 6k.
Radiant are scanning.
First black hole of the game. And again, as tanky as this Underlord is, man, he can't really just go in there and do all the damage. Someone needs to do some damage with him. And in a perfect world, that would be, you know, a Brewmaster, a Serpent Wards, a Rubik stealing something. But just Rubik caught against the wall like that, this is Frown Town for Rubik. And Envy, I mean, he could throw in those daggers. Hope for a lucky crit roll. That's about all he can do. He's going to go for a BKB next. But even should he pick up a BKB, like, he gets that item, he turns on BKB, jumps right in. Who's he going to kill? Like, is he going to beat down a Terrorblade? No, not a chance. There is still a black hole. There is still a Stampede just to get away. I think even Elder Titan, if he has a decent amount of damage from that Spirit, can put up a decent fight versus that PA. So, Magic Community, even though it's pretty darn great, is not quite going to be an item pickup that's just going to allow Envy to safely engage. Oh, Stinger, Stampede, grabs a double damage rune, but just dies immediately afterwards. Reflection onto Eternal Envy. His illusion gets a crit, because apparently Ozzy's just good at PA. They should be able to back off here. Pick off a Centaur and draw out Stampede. That's not a terrible pick. Another kill for Tomato as well. This is just a race for Envy. Gotta get that gold. Gotta get that gold. Gotta try to recover.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He's at 4k. What did the Dazzle get? He went straight one-shot Guardian Greaves. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Arcane Boots, nothing wrong with Mech. I don't know why you one-shot that, but he did it. The absolute madman. Tier 2 towers will be traded, but this push ain't stopping for nobody. The Metamorphosis is out. Pepita does have the Crimson. It's going to give them a little bit of extra juice here. Firestorm is going to do a lot of damage as the split comes in. Dispel Magic clears out the rest of the summons. Ozzy on the south side does have that Aegis, so he is very comfortable in the middle of this fight, although the pit is fantastic. Kind of cuts the fight in half here. The Brewmaster is awkwardly stumbling around with his split, and the tower is being chipped out. 21 minutes, that's all. And this Aegis Terrorblade is completely fearless. Like, who's going to kill this guy? I'm not really sure who. It's going to have to be someone. They can drop some more Firestorm, and they do just that, but they lose Snaking, jump in, and the Black Hole grabs EE. He has BKB, and it's going to do literally nothing for him. Pepita in the middle of this fight, taking up every single hit the Terrorblade has to offer, but he's still going to go down. And this looks like it might be a very early set of racks. It will be just that. 11k should be about the lead. No way. They're going to go for a tier 4 tower? Do they have demonic conversions? They do. I mean, there's no one that can really contest them right now, so they force a buyback on the pit. Underlord. Pit Lord. When was the last time he was Pit Lord? I don't really know. Then they fall back, happy with that gain. That was 0 casualties in that engagement, and if they push forward too far, Infamous, they might just get turned upon. Because Playmakers can still re-engage. They still have that Stampede. Even though they don't have a Metamorphosis, they still have just a Terrorblade who's stacked to hell. Stomp is there, and here comes Stinger. Okay, maybe not. There goes Stinger, and there goes the Stampede. Let's see how clean the retreat is. It looks pretty darn clean to me. Stinger is out. And everyone should be out, in fact, except for that guy. This guy is not out. They still have the Aegis. I don't think they'll be able to push again with it. But they will have an Arcane Rune if they want to take down a couple tier 2s. Or Shrines, because they took down the tier 3 in the process. You can see how little the Phantom Assassin's doing versus that TB. If you want to first pick PA, fine, that's okay. But you got to expect the Terrorblade to be picked up in direct response. And Pit, once again, in a fantastic spot. But again, this is a Terrorblade with Aegis, so they may kill him off, or they may not, because they're just not doing any damage. Can anyone kill this Terrorblade? He's going to Sunder straight up to full. Here comes the Earth Splitter, cracks back Snaking. And now Moose, he will get the split off, but what will that actually do? Like, this isn't doing anything. So he's just going to keep chasing forward because he has eyes on Tomato, who did steal the black hole. GG is called before they could even kill him. 23 minutes in. And that's about the sight of it. Sad trombone from Faker. Infamous, they just get ripped apart. They have been doing this to pretty much everyone else in the qualifiers today. And then suddenly they run into this wall of Playmakers who have been playing absolute beastly Dota in every single game we've seen from them, and they just get nothing done. First of all, the fact that Tomato had absolutely no impact in this game, that sucks. The Brewmaster had very limited impact on this game. Pretty much everyone had little impact on this game, and Playmakers were able to do whatever the hell they wanted, including build up several bucklers. I don't know. I mean, if you're going to first pick a PA, you need more magic damage than this. Like, they have a lot of magic damage in some situations, but on average, it's just not going to work. So guys, game 1 goes towards Playmakers, and if you are a fan of Infamous, now's about the time to give them your energy, because they are against the ropes. If they lose this next game, no minor for them. Guys, I'm Mikelorus, and I'll be right back in just a little bit for game 2.